What's up, guys? M. Jones back in the house again for a Blu-ray update, a July 7th Blu-ray update. It's been a while since I've done this, and I apologize for that. Just kind of getting a lot of things going on with my house. So as you can tell, I got some finally some artwork up, some mirrors. Recently, Mason has moved in, so things have been getting more feminized in this house, which is a good thing, because this place was just a dude palace. And I had absolutely nothing going on here, too much. So it's finally, looking nice in here, and I'm very excited. Anywho, I digress. Let's get to my Blu-ray update. I have a whole bunch of movies to talk about today. Some from way back in even like the 70s and up until now. So it's a very big eclectic group, so I'm very excited to talk about that with you today. So let's get started. Alphabetized as always. First one I want to talk about, it won 5 Academy Awards back in like 1999. I was so into seeing this movie. Sam Mendes directed this movie, a phenomenal director. But American Beauty, I really love American Beauty. It's a strange movie, but man, it seems like it could happen. Like everything that goes on, it seems like it really could happen. Kevin Spacey was phenomenal in this movie, and Annette Bening was really good. You hated her, but she was so good. And I really like Chris Cooper as that crazy colonel. That his son was the weird guy that would film Thora Birch's character, who was the daughter of Kevin Spacey and Annette Bening. I love Chris Cooper in this as that colonel. And I love that. I didn't realize, but Allison Janney was the wife of Chris Cooper in this. She was kind of the real quiet, didn't say much, seemed a little autistic kind of. And I never realized that was her. I think she put weight on for this movie. But it was the best picture. It was the best picture, 1999, and I just love this movie. And I thought, Mina Suvari, who I really like, she was excellent in this movie too, as Angela. Everyone thinks she's like the cheerleader slut. She's just she was excellent in this movie. But my favorite character in this is definitely Kevin Spacey. Man, he was so good in this. He was just fed up with life. He found a way to get out of his job but still get paid for a year, and he just wanted to work at a freaking McDonald's type fast food restaurant and just be the counter guy who's just taking the orders in the drive-thru. He was just so cool. He didn't give a shit at all. I just love this movie. It's a longer movie. I think it's about over 2 hours. Definitely rated R. It's just a fantastic movie. You have to check it out. Very strange but fantastic movie. The next one, I didn't think for a second to be on Blu-ray. I don't know why, because I remember I didn't even get it on DVD. I just had it on VHS. I think taped. I think I taped it off a free Showtime weekend or a free HBO weekend way back in the day when you have those free previews for the weekend, which was the best. I miss that. And let me know if you do miss that. I miss those free weekends of premiere channels. Man, they were the best. I would just stay home and watch movies all day. In those weekends. But Backdraft, 1991, it's just a fantastic movie. A Ron Howard picture. Anything he puts out, I love. I love Ron Howard as a director. I love Apollo 13, just a classic. And I like that he always puts Clint Howard in his movies. He was I think he investigated did all the autopsies. So not like a mortician, but I forget the term. But he did all the autopsy reports. And but in this movie, there's a lot of big actors in this, like Robert De Niro, Kurt Russell, Scott Glenn was in this movie, the late J.T. Walsh was in this movie, Donald Sutherland was in this movie, and creepy as all hell, and then there's William Baldwin. He was the main character in this movie, but his career has just done nothing. I don't think he's done anything really. He was in the movie 1996, Fair Game with Cindy Crawford. An awful movie, but it's a guilty pleasure. I really like it. And he was also in the scenes for Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He was playing an actor on TV in that movie. But I didn't give a shit. I was just okay. But William Baldwin, talk about just going from a lot of aspiring roles to just nothing. It's a shame because in this movie, I kind of liked him. I thought he was cool. But my favorite character in this is just definitely Kurt Russell. Man, he was so good. I just loved him in this movie. And he just was William Baldwin's older brother, trying to take him into their own fire engine and trying to get him used to not being just a rookie. And and just kind of getting him, ready to be a firefighter. And Robert De Niro plays Shadow, who is kind of like the investigator for the fire department. Like, figures out why the fires occurred, and he kind of figures it out with William Baldwin why there's been certain fires happening that were tampered with. So just a really good movie. I don't want to tell you too much. I forgot Rebecca De Mornay's in this. Jennifer Jason Leigh is in this for the actresses. Both did a great job in this movie. But check this movie out. It's really cool. I remember Universal Studios did the Backdraft ride, or like the Backdraft show. You could watch how they kind of did the special effects in this. Awesome movie. Definitely suggest you check it out. The next one, just recently released on Blu-ray, but it's been out for DVD for a long time, was Bedazzled. Bedazzled, what a funny movie. It's PG-13. It's definitely appropriate for kids, I thought. I think it could have been PG even. I just think some of the, the adult themes kind of made it where it had to be at least PG-13. But I love this movie. Brendan Fraser, again, where is he at? Him and William Baldwin must be at some golf clubs just all day, never working ever again, never making movies. But he was really good in this movie. He played Elliot, and he was kind of like a nerd, very like just a love-starved kind of guy. He was like some computer technician where he worked at, and he sees this girl Allison that he loves. And he's like, I would sell my soul just to go on a date with her. Well, the devil, or Elizabeth Hurley, hears this and just shows up out of nowhere and says, you get these amount of wishes. And he's like, oh, okay. So he finally realizes, after time, he makes all these wishes, but there's always some kind of snafu in his wishes. And he doesn't realize what really matters, which I'm not going to tell you because I want you to see this movie. But what's cool about this movie is just, Elizabeth Hurley, she's in a bikini a lot of the times. That was great. But that's not my point. My point was the movie has a great, like moral code to it. Like, it really, it has a great story, and it kind of shows you just to, be yourself in the long run. And, I just really love this movie. There's so many different scenarios he makes wishes for to try to get Allison's heart. And it's just so funny. He's so funny as a basketball player. His interview with the guy that he gets interviewed with this one like ESPN kind of guy, and it's just a disaster interview. It's so funny, but definitely check this out. I was so excited to get this on Blu-ray. Very good movie. The next one, I think I bought this movie because I thought I liked it back when I was like in my mid-teens. And, I love Adrian Grenier from Entourage as Vinny Chase. I love him. I loved him in that show. I missed that show. And I always liked, Melissa Joan Hart. I always liked her in Clarissa Explains It All. I think she was in that. And back in Nickelodeon days when it was good. I had to get this movie drive me crazy. I liked Britney Spears when I was a teenager. Obviously, everybody did because she was good looking. And I remember she had the theme song to this. I was like, man, I got to see this. I remember I saw it. I forget who I saw it with. I might have watched it by myself. I don't know. But I remember I liked it so much. Well, I watched it again. Sucks. It's an awful movie. An awful movie. So cliche. So obvious. I could have turned it off in the first 20 minutes and knew what happened for the remaining hour and 10 minutes. It was just obvious. Everything was telegraphed. I knew everything what was going to happen. Nothing, no surprises. I kind of wish I didn't buy this. I got a real cheap thing, thank goodness. But I just thought, I don't know. I thought it'd be a lot better than I remember. But I guess I've matured. But this movie, no, sucks, awful. Do not buy this movie. I'll put it even close. Do not buy it. Sucks. Wish I didn't have it. Anywho, next one. I remember seeing this with a good buddy of mine at a local theater, and my mom. She had to take us because it was rated R, and we were under the age of 17 or 18, whatever we have to be. And I thought this movie just completely kicked ass. It's a great movie. I was so excited to get it. Halloween, H2O. It's 20 years later. That's what it's called. 20 years later, and I thought this movie was fantastic. I thought Josh Hartnett was good in this movie. Michelle Williams, who's turned out to be a phenomenal actress, was good in this movie. And then you had LL Cool J. He's always cool. No matter what, he's always cool in movies. I liked him. And then Jodie Lynn O'Keefe, who was in Whatever It Takes. She was in that movie She's All That, and she's kind of just gone off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened to her, but I always liked her. I always found her really attractive. And then she had some boyfriend in the movie, and Adam Hand Bird, who, it's like, dude, you're so lucky to get that role because you would never date Joe DeLeon O'Keefe in real life. There's no way. I don't care what you say. You know, it just, this movie was really good. I thought the guy who played the shape of Michael Myers did a great job. You know, good timing with his walk and his pace, and you know how he used the kitchen knife. You know, I just thought it was great. You know, and I really thought this movie doesn't get a lot of credit as it deserves. You know, it came out like 1998, and unfortunately this movie was followed up with Halloween Resurrection, which I believe was like Busta Rhymes in it. That was one of the worst movies ever in that whole series. I hated it. But this movie just, it is a classic. It really is good. You know, and I can't believe it's also like, it's like 15, 16 years old already. It's crazy to me. Because I just remember seeing it. But the company that brought this movie out is called Echo Bridge Home Entertainment. And they really produce shitty quality for Blu-ray. Really shitty quality. Like, you know, this movie was like $4. And it came out to be like $5 right when it came out. So it's like, how is it that cheap? Well, I started to figure out the movies are more expensive because they're better quality companies that produce the Blu-ray with how it looks on your TV, HD television. So I wasn't really impressed with how it looked on the screen, but I'm still glad I have it. Because first of all, I have like all the Halloweens on Blu-ray, and I didn't have this one. So I was really excited to get it. And in this movie, one of my favorite scenes, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis has like all these like dreams and these premonitions, like she's going to see Michael again. Well, when she finally does see Michael again, the exchange of the eye contact between the two, in between a door with one of those little circular windows. And if you can see it, it's like right here. Let me see if I get it. That right there, that scene right there is badass as shit. It's so good. And it's just like, whoa, like I remember in the theater, I was like, oh my god, like yelling and screaming, flipping popcorn. But just love this movie. You gotta check it out. Next one. Very recent movie just came out on Blu-ray. It was in the theaters like 5-6 months ago. Was Jason Bateman, Melissa McCarthy, Identity Thief. This movie, again, got no love from Rotten Tomatoes, got no love from real critics, and critics are so critical of comedy movies, which is so annoying, because comedies, most people want to go see comedy, it's funny, you know, but this movie I thought was hysterical. I thought it was great. You know, I really loved it. It even had a good story to it. And I loved Eric Stonestreet, who's Cam from Modern Family. He was in it, and he was funny as hell. And I love T.I. was one of the guys in the movie. He's a rapper, but he was pretty good in this movie. You know, and Jason Bateman, I thought was great. You know, Jason Bateman is always the guy in movies that doesn't have any balls. He never has any balls. He's always so scared. He's always like doing the right thing. He's always like the father or husband of some woman who's just like usually mad at him or something like that. But this movie, he got some balls finally. And I know it's a script. He has to follow the script. He's an actor. But as an actor, he should say, you know what? I really want to like have some balls finally. Is that okay with you, director? Yeah, Jason, that's fine with me. Have some balls. He had balls in this movie. I liked it. And Melissa McCarthy, man, what a conniver. But she was so good in this movie, and you grew to have a heart for this woman. She was very cool. But, you know, she was a thief, as you can tell by the title. And how she is a thief, you can also tell by the title. She was just really good. I really cared about her. You know, because I just felt like she was never loved in her life. Her character was never loved in her life. And she just really just wanted, you know, some kind of serenity in her life, something pure. And I just thought that she did a great job as this character in the movie. And also, I'm very excited to see her new movie of Sandra Bullock, The Heat. You know, I'd love to see that. So, really like this movie. I thought it was ridiculous how it got no love by the critics. You know, I'm just shocked by it. I thought it was an excellent movie. The next one, just like Drive Me Crazy. I saw it, you know, I saw it a long time ago. I thought it was good at the time. Now I watched it again. I wasn't into it. I was a little bored. You're gonna probably think I'm crazy about this, but Italian Job. It's a good flick. It is a good movie. I saw it in high school, and I remember I think it was the first movie I ever drank and then went to the theater. That might have been my problem. Maybe I was just like trying to be cool in high school, blah blah blah, and drink and just have a good time and laugh and whatever and joke around and think this movie was like, holy shit, it's awesome. I watched it again recently on my television, on my HD television, and I was bored. I don't know why. I don't know why I was bored. You know, I read a few stories about this, how like Paramount had some kind of contract with Edward Norton, who was in this movie, that he had to do like 3 movies, and this was his 3rd movie he had to do. He had no interest of doing this movie, And that just kind of pissed me off. It's like, all right, dude, like you're getting paid millions of dollars. Like just act and shut your mouth. Like that's all you have to do. You know, just act and do your job and get paid like lucrative amounts that I'll never see. You know, but this movie I was bored with. You know, I'm not a huge Seth Green fan. I don't know why. I've never been a huge Seth Green fan. I think he's good in Family Guy. I thought he was good as, you know, Scott in Austin Powers movies. I've never been a big fan of him. I don't know why. I think he has that David Spade, you know, Napoleon Complex, smart ass attitude. I don't like it. I don't know. I don't like him. You know, Jason Statham was awesome in this. Did like that. Charlize Theron, she was good. You know, she's a gorgeous woman, so that helps. But she was okay. But of course, Mark Wahlberg. This really got him. You know, in my opinion, this movie kind of put him on the map to be like a starring role. You know, F. Gary Gray was the director of this movie, and you know he kind of made Mark Wahlberg an image for movie posters to get really a lot of people in there. He's a good-looking guy, but he's also a pretty good actor. This movie got him going with acting, in my opinion. I know he was in Fear, he was in The Big Hit. Those were all good movies, but he was young there. This movie was like his first, like, let's be mature now. Let's actually have big roles. Let's bring in the summer blockbusters. So I really liked him in this. But the whole movie itself, I just was bored. I don't know why. I know it was cool, like how they did everything, and Donald Sutherland was great in it too, for the time he was. But I was just bored of the movie. You know, would I watch it again to try to maybe say, you know, am I bored again? I would, because it was a cool flick in its own sort of way. But the Mini Coopers, God, I'm not into it. But you know, again, it was cool to see it the movie again, but I just was disappointed. I think I had too much high expectation from what I saw it the last time. So anyway, another great movie. 2010, you know, Jake Gyllenhaal, Anne Hathaway, Love and Other Drugs. You know, just a really fantastic movie. You know, it's about a woman that has early stages of Parkinson's. She's also a hypochondriac too, which doesn't help anything. So, and Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of like a pharmacy rep. You know, he kind of goes around and tries to like sell like medical equipment and stuff like that. And he kind of like meets her by accident by pretending to be like a doctor intern when she's getting her breast check. And you know, they kind of like, she has a lot of anger in life, and he kind of like helps her with that a little bit. And as the movie goes on, she gets more sick, and he just becomes more attached, and it really is just a great movie. You know, I really loved it. You know, and Anne Hathaway, you know, she is annoying. She's an annoying person, seems like, in real life, because the way she is about accepting awards and how she's just so like a rambler, you know, and she just seems just overindulgent with things. But in this movie, she's really good. You know, she is a good actress. You know, she's phenomenal in Dark Knight Rises as the cat burglar, Catwoman. But in this, you know, I really felt for her anger. Like, you know, her having Parkinson's is an awful disease. You know, it is really awful, and you can see how she's starting to be affected by it. And I have a medical background. I work in the medical field as my day job, and I can definitely tell you she did a great job on the research with finding out what early stages of Parkinson's is like. So I really love this movie. It has a really good moral to it. It's a beautiful story about love and also strife and just how there's a little bit of discord with both of them. And you know, I really think you should check this movie out. Very much loved it. 2010. The next one, going from like romantic and sad to just hysterical and glad. I thought this movie was hysterical. I never saw it in the theaters. I wanted to. I just never got to it. I think this movie came out in like 2008, you know, maybe like, you know, five years ago. Just, you know, Dane Cook, Kate Hudson, Jason Biggs, and Alec Baldwin, my best friend's girl. That movie is so hysterical. You have to buy this copy exactly. You know why? Because it's unrated version. It's the unrated version, and there's so many more scenes that Dane Cook has are just hysterical. You know, the part where he's just a complete asshole. And he just gets girls, and it's just the bottom line. Girls don't want fun, don't want like simple and happy and easygoing guys. They want someone that they can't like, they can't like figure out. Like that's what people want. I mean, that's what girls want. I'm telling you, it's the truth. And you know, just an awesome movie. Dane Cook basically, you know, meets Jason Biggs, who that's his best friend, but meets Jason Biggs' girlfriend to try to make her want Jason Biggs back because she broke up with him. And she ends up like falling for him, and he ends up falling for her, and he keeps telling Jason Biggs lies, and she keeps trying to like give it more time, and you know, and all stuff like that. But you know, just a really funny movie. and Alec Baldwin's really good in it. You know, he plays Dane Cook's dick dad, and you know, and Alec Baldwin is so good as like kind of an asshole father. And Outside Providence, which should go on Blu-ray, which is so good of a movie. You know, he plays an asshole in that too as a father. Well, he plays an asshole in this one too. He just doesn't give a shit. But just check this out. You know, my favorite part of this whole movie is when this girl calls him an asshole at the bar, and he's sitting there like, "We'll walk away," and she's like, "I'm not gonna walk away." It was just awesome. Like he just proves how bad boys always finish first. Just a great flick. The next one, like I said, old. Like talk about in the '70s. This movie was so old, and you know I just absolutely love this song. I absolutely love this movie. Excuse me. You know, it came out like 1977, but Pete's Dragon. You know how I know this movie. I don't know how I found out about this movie. It stars with Helen Reddy, Mickey Rooney, Red Buttons. You know, they're all Shelley Winters. They're all in this movie. I think I got this movie because my mom knew I collected those Disney movies that had the open case. The real big open case that you would put the movie in and you would close it up, like those Disney movies. I think I have all those. Well, she bought this movie just because I collected that. And I'm like, you know, what the hell is this? I was a little kid. I was like, what's this, Mom? I don't really want to see this. But I remember I watched it as a little boy, and I really liked it. I don't know what it was. I just thought it was cool how it was in like some, like kind of like Cape Cod-esque town, Cape May kind of town, with lighthouses, and you know, there's a lot of different like, you know, like fresh markets where you go, and this little boy befriends like this dragon, and the little boy's name's Pete. And everyone's like scared in town about a dragon being there, and you know he tries to prove that everything is like, you know, kosher, and you know he's not going to harm anybody, the dragon that is. And it's just a really good movie. I was really impressed with it. I will say again, I am not big on musicals. I never have been. I always feel embarrassed to watch people sing just randomly out of nowhere, like musicals are. Like Cheer Up Charlie from Willy Wonka is awful for me. I cannot watch the mom sing that. And this movie again. I hate the musical part of it. I like the acting of it. I like the verbiage. But when it comes to the singing, it's just awful. I just don't like it. It's too corny for me. And the little kid's voice is annoying. But all in all, it's a good movie. It's great for kids to watch. It is rated G, so I mean, very limited guidance as a parent to let a kid watch it. But check it out. It's not a timeless movie, but it's still a fun movie to appreciate and enjoy. I have two more to go. The next one. I think everyone has this movie. I know every dude has to have this movie that really likes action and, you know, and Al Pacino. Scarface. It's just a classic movie. I remember I got this on VHS. I got it on DVD. I got this one because I had to have it in my Blu-ray collection. I do like to collect Blu-rays, not just to watch them, but just because there's a certain reason why I had to have it. And this is just because it's just such a badass movie. Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert Loggia, you know, obviously Al Pacino is the protagonist, and it's just a fantastic movie. Just a fantastic movie, and it's long. It's a very long movie, and you know, I really just love this movie. It's almost like 3 hours long, but it's worth it. It shows how a young guy from like Havana, Cuba, starts out working just like a little French fry stand, and then gets a bigger job, and gets a bigger job, and a bigger job, and a bigger job in the whole world of crime, pretty much. And he just becomes a huge kingpin in Miami, Florida. And it just shows how he does it. How he does it by just being, you know, sadistic and just crazy, but smart, street smart, even book smart. And, you know, there's so many one-liners in this movie. Say hello to my little friend, like, oh. And I love how he walks out of the dinner room and he says, so say goodnight to the bad guy. That's just, oh, it's so cool. It's so jolting. Love that. But just a fantastic movie. You got to see it. It's worth 3 hours. It absolutely is worth 3 hours. You know, him playing Tony Montana. Just awesome. Awesome movie. And the last movie, I'm shocked I didn't even have this. I have the third movie of this series, but I guess I didn't buy it because I thought it was expensive. Well, I finally saw a deal on it for like $14.99 online. It was new. It wasn't used. I don't like to buy used movies, but I had to buy this movie just because it's a classic and I love it. But Toy Story. Pixar's Toy Story. You know, this movie has done so much in the world of animation. Did it ruin the old school way to watch a movie? Animation-wise, yes, but did it start a whole new way of putting these characters almost look like they're in real life? Yes. Pixar has done a wonderful job with that. You know, I love Pixar movies. And this movie here, anyone could watch it. You could be 2 years old. You could be 102 years old, and in between that, everyone likes it. I don't know one person that doesn't like this movie. You know, it's just the music's fantastic. You know, Randy Newman, he does I think he does all the music for this movie. He does a wonderful job with the piano and how he sings. And you know, I just love the characters of, you know, Woody and Buzz Lightyear, you know, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen's voices respectfully, and I just love them in this movie. And this movie, like, it just reminds me of being a kid, like having my toys in certain cliques and having them in certain spots in my playroom, and like having them, like, I'll do voices of my toys. Like, this movie just reminds me of that. And the character Andy, who's the boy who actually has these toys, how he treats them, like, that's how I did it. You know, I put my name on like some of my toys, like body parts, and it was just like property of kind of a thing. I just love this movie, and I just love how it like came to real life, and how they use certain things in his room as like serious things, but like when Buzz Lightyear needed more like Scotch tape, and how he thought it was something else. I just love that. It's just so cool how he does that. And you know, of course, the antagonist, you know, Spike, I think was his name. He kind of like got the toys at the I think at the Pizza Planet, and it was Buzz and Woody, and Andy was sad they lost the toys, and he had them, and they had to escape from him, and also try to escape to get back onto the moving van because Andy's family was moving. It's just a great movie, and I really loved it. And you know, I wasn't big on the second Toy Story. I think it was a pretty good movie, but it wasn't great. This movie's outstanding, you know, and the third movie's outstanding. Second one, not bad. But I just really love this movie, and you know, Pixar, you know, they put their name on the map because of this movie, you know, and they do, you know, they do all like the Finding Nemos and the Monsters Inc. and University, and they did Cars. You know, I think they did Up. I could be wrong, but Pixar, I mean, they've done just a great job. But I will say, like, I hope there's a Toy Story 4, just because I love these movies. I just think they're fantastic. But anyway, that is my recent purchases for my Blu-ray update. I hope you enjoyed it, and of course, I always hope you keep watching, get your friends to subscribe. You know, I really have a lot of passion for this stuff, and I just love my little quips about each thing, and I hope you do too. You know, it's just me being me. It's what I love about these movies, is my own 2 cents about them, and everyone else's 2 cents. So until then, you take it easy, and K-bye.